All right.
All right, let's get this meeting on a roll.
All right.
Welcome Rotarians guests to the January 26th Zoom meeting. My name is Ron Lichtel. I serve as your club president. Would you all stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Yeah, and Mr. Brian Barnett, I was just kidding, really. Okay, would you all please join me in the four-way test of the things we think, say, or do?
Is it
the truth?
Is it
Is it fair to all concerned?
good
No goodwill.
better friendship?
Will it be
beneficial
to all concerned?
Today's invocation, I think that was, I didn't have my notes. Is that you, Shirley?
Shirley.
It's me?
Okay.
All right, let us pray. Good and gracious God, thank you for the gift of this day. We thank you for bringing us together as Rotarians on this winter afternoon. We ask that you continue to bless our club and strengthen us to live our lives and everything we think, say, and do in accordance with the tenets of our four-way test. We ask you to further guide us to provide service above self by sharing our time, talent, and treasure with those who are less fortunate than us in our community, in our nation, and around the world. Today, we especially ask for your blessings on our new leaders in Washington. We ask that you give our president the wisdom, understanding, and courage to do what is right for our country. We pray that there be an end to the divisiveness and violence that is plaguing our nation so that we can move forward together in peace. And lastly, please bless all those who are still suffering from the coronavirus and grant them a quick and complete recovery. We ask all of this in the name of your Son, our Lord Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. All right. Guests. Mr. Kyle Johnson, do we have any guests today?
Just in cursory attendance, I think we have a Mary Ann who might be a guest today. I don't see her face. But other than that, I don't think we have any guests.
Isn't that Mary?
What?
Christine Haig, you're muted.
Oh, I'm sorry. Isn't it Mary Ann Reedinger who was listed just as Mary Ann?
Yeah.
Okay, well then I don't think I see any guests, but if you're a guest, please say hello and introduce yourself.
I guess we don't have any. All right, 15th handshake today. 15th handshake, 15th sign on. Old habits. Rachel Avilas. Do we have any, so no fines there, Mayor, for Rachel or me? Do we have any happy bucks today?
Ron, this is Julianne. I have a happy buck.
Great.
I am so happy. Last week I was not at Rotary, and it was because I was actually, and that's not why I'm happy. I was down in Nashville. My sister, they had a medical emergency with their oldest son, who's 9. And I'm sharing this with you simply because we could use your continued prayers. He was diagnosed with a brain tumor, and it was incredibly serious, but I'm happy today because the doctor was able to remove the tumor completely. It's just that he's going to have some added treatments that he needs to have over the next 12 months of radiation and chemo. So again, I'm going to pledge 20 happy bucks that I'm so grateful that they removed the majority of the tumor, and then I could use the group's prayers basically for his continued health.
Amen to that. Any other happy bucks? Oh, David Archibald, you've got to be happy. You're muted.
I'm happy as a clam at high tide.
Okay, birthdays, we did not have any birthdays this week, but we had a couple club anniversaries. Ernie Schaefer, 23 years, Roger Bird, 47 years, and Jerry Murphy, 10 years. Congratulations. Ernie Schaefer, you had a club announcement you wanted to talk about today.
Ernie, you're muted.
There we go. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I just want to take a few minutes and chat a little bit about our foundation and the foundation giving. This has obviously been a difficult year, not only for our club, but for Rotary International and the Rotary Foundation. With the COVID situation, the demands on the foundation have been obviously significant. And of course, because clubs aren't meeting, or meeting as we are, the giving is significantly down. And just as an example of that, our giving within this club to the foundation so far this year is only about 10% of what we gave in total last year. So just keep that in mind. And because of this, your foundation committee has kind of gotten together, and we're going to try to charge this thing up a little bit. We recognize that, we can't do what we've always done, but we think we can do a little better than we are doing. So we're going to be designating the month of March as Foundation Month. We're going to be publicizing this. We're going to be letting everyone know of the many ways you can get involved in the foundation. This doesn't mean we want you all to buy a Paul Harris. We know that's not possible. It'd be outstanding, but it's not. We recognize it's not possible. But there are a whole variety of ways that you can get involved, and we'll be talking about that. So this is just a little bit of an advance announcement that March is Foundation Month for the Rochester Rotary Club. And you're going to start seeing a bit of publicity and some suggestions on how you can get involved. So with that, thank you.
Thanks, Ernie. Rotarian of the Week. I believe last week it was David Early that got that gift. Is that correct, David?
Yes, it was, Ron, and it was indeed a gift. So thank you so much for the recognition. For me, for Rotarian of the Week, I am nominating Rachel Aviles. I so appreciate all of the work that she is doing for our club, on our board, and just in a lot of ways. She has been a great energy for our board, and I appreciate her vision for our Rotary Club as well. So I am recommending Rachel Aviles for our Rotarian of the Week.
Congratulations, Rachel. And I noticed we even got the whole room got smarter. We got John with us today. Okay. Moving on. Oh boy. We got to let our sheriff talk for a couple seconds.
Jeez, is it my turn already? Wow. Well, good afternoon, everybody. Trying to do this so I don't see a huge picture of myself, which is annoying. Good to see everybody. I'm not in a terrible mood, which is unusual. But obviously, we want to raise a little bit of money after we were just kindly reminded that we're 90% behind our goal, and then we throw it to the sheriff. So thanks for that gentle reminder that I can't stop until we raise nearly 50 grand today. So dig deep, folks. Really going to need your help. First of all, Rachel, congratulations on the 15th sign-in. Unfortunately, the last time I was sheriff, I forgot to fine you, and I wrote it down here. And so it's $5, not for this time, but for the last time that I was sheriff. And so I appreciate you paying that. Julianne, you did catch yourself, but it was interesting to note that your happy buck started by the fact that you're happy that you weren't at Rotary last week. that's $5 for you. Good news to hear about Atticus, though. That's a great prayer request answered. For everyone that has to be reminded to unmute themselves so far, that's $5. That should raise us about $40 so far, based on what I've heard. You know, you can tell a lot about a person based on their background. So if you kind of zoom around to some of these people, first of all, you know, many of you have degrees. I'm very proud of your academic achievements. I noticed a few behind you, Vince. Many of you have books. David Erdley, a few of you have some books, very obviously trying to cast a message there. Kerry Riggs have sort of this awkward sort of Star Wars type window behind him that makes me uncomfortable. I feel like he's giving an interview or something. It's weird. But the background of the day, I think, goes to Ron DeLito, who has a sort of simple Annie Oakley shotgun, I believe, on his wall, which makes me both curious and concerned about being either a neighbor or an Amazon delivery guy or anybody coming to Ron's house in the near future.
Just be aware.
It's doing exactly what I think you had intended it to do, Ron. So we had a little bit of snow outside the window today. If you've already shoveled your driveway, it's $5. If you paid someone to shovel your driveway, it's $10 because obviously you have more money than the rest of us. If you shoveled someone else's driveway, no fines. Way to be a good Rotarian. We appreciate that. If you've skied, ice fished, snow shoed, had hot cocoa, or gone sledding, it's $5 if you're enjoying this season. But if you've gone to Florida or Arizona, it's $10 because, first of all, you're my kind of people, and you also have the money to get out of this weather, and so it's $10 for any of you in Florida or Arizona. And I'm looking at you, Shirley. If you're calling in from Florida or Arizona, it's $20. If you hate the snow like me, here's a good reminder that we are only 2 weeks away from pitchers and catchers reporting. So spring is not that far away and around the corner. So that's some good news there. So I'm trying to scroll around here. Raise your hand if you made keep it up for a minute, if you made a New Year's resolution. Keep your hands up. See a few of you up there. A few of you are nervous to raise your hands with me. I get it. See a few of you with your hands up. That's good. That's good. I mean, we all should take the time to think about how we want to do some things, some new things, and appreciate those of you that have made New Year's resolutions. It's $5 if you made them. How many of you can keep your hands up and say that your New Year's resolution is still intact? Anybody? Tom. All right. I see basically one hand. Tom Nouveau is the only one. I want to just tell you that my resolution is still intact. I made a resolution to gain 2 pounds. And so I'm right on track. I want to proudly report that I'm able to sort of nail my resolution. I did have a few of you that shared your New Year's resolutions with me, and I want to share these. I want to share these in the vein of trying to encourage you and encourage you to keep the resolutions as best you can. Kind of the same way we used a prayer chain at church to kind of gossip about people, but kind of pray for them as well. So it's similar in fashion. Shirley Go Frank, John Somerville, and John Gaber promised to be nicer and resolved to be nicer to their Spartan friends this year, which I thought was nice. Mary Lee Kowalczyk and Ryan Deal resolved to be nicer to their Wolverine friends, which I thought was an admirable resolution. All of the Spartans and Wolverines agreed to continue to ostracize Phil Lohman and Tim Crawford and any of the Buckeyes, which I fully support as well. David Archibald is on the call. David Archibald resolved to be on time, which I thought was a pretty cool resolution. Granted, he didn't make the resolution until January 5th. So it's not quite as long as the rest of us, but he is resolving to try to do better on being on time. The Eastmans resolved to spend at least 10 cumulative minutes away from each other in 2021 and learn at least one other person's name in their life besides each other, which I thought was nice. They're trying to get out of their bubble a little bit. Hope the Eastmans will be able to do that. President Ron Lichtel resolved to finally accept Zoom meetings as the legacy of his presidency. which I love saying, and has resolved to name his dog Zoom to prove how much he loves that. Phil Lohman has resolved to spend more time reading and less time on Tinder. So hopefully he'll be able to accomplish that. We'll all be supportive of that as well. That's only good. Less of Phil on Tinder, better for everyone in society. Nino Toko, Nino, who owns Rivercrest, has resolved to finally biting the bullet and buying fresh food in 2021. So that's one we can all sort of get behind, a good resolution for Nino. David Blair has resolved to stop giving away everyone's passwords to Russian hackers and Nigerian princes. So we appreciate Dave's resolution, another one we can all get behind. Christine Haig, ironically, has resolved to spend more time on Tinder and less time reading books. So kind of the opposite of Phil, but also, listen, we don't judge people for their resolutions. We just encourage them and support them, whatever it may be. Tim Duncan has resolved to actually treating cats appropriately for 2021, which is nice. Appreciate that, Tim. Kathy Lazinski has resolved to finally think of others in 2021 and is going to actually do something for someone other than herself. So it's nice, Kathy, that you're finally being a little selfless and thinking of others. We certainly support that resolution as well. Kyle Johnson has resolved to turn 18 in 2021, which is a nice one for Kyle. We support him in his efforts. Vince Bettina has resolved to actually invoice Rotarians for what they owe and not finance his side hustle. So again, we appreciate that. Vince, strong work for you. One we can also get behind. David Walker has resolved to always vote yes on the Rochester Hills City Council, no matter what the issue is, and to never ask any questions, so help him God. So we appreciate that. Kind of a strange one, Dave, but certainly supportive of that. John Modetz has resolved to stop following around Tom Nouveau and Jerry Carvey so closely. I don't know what that means, but I'm just glad he's backing off a little bit. So glad everyone's on mute. Marty McClure and Jerry Gross have resolved to read 0 of those books behind them right now in order to keep their 20-year streak going of never reading those books that sit on the shelves behind them. So good luck to you guys as you work hard to keep those streaks going. Chief Steve Schettenhelm has resolved to not give me or any other Rotarians, but especially me, any parking tickets in 2021. Again, appreciate that, Steve. That's a strong resolution. I hope that you can last the whole year for that. That's really important. Maria Willett has resolved to finally start treating all of her coworkers with respect and for bringing her coworkers lunch every day this week. Oh, she just walked in the room. Maria's just finding out about this resolution now. Thank you, Maria. That's a great resolution. I look forward to lunch tomorrow. That's fantastic. And all the Rotarians who I didn't mention, we wish you well as you bring your own particular resolution and work hard to keep it in order for 2021. Listen, anybody who didn't find, we have to get to, I think, $50,000 today. So if you divide that up by the number of people, if you could all just ask Vince to find you somewhere between 10 and 12,000, we'll meet our goal and we'll all be better for it. So thanks everybody for the time today. Happy New Year. And I'll turn it back over to our esteemed Zoom loving president.
Well, first off, when you had the close-up of you, I think you should be fined for the razor missing your face.
Are you talking about a good-looking fine? Guilty. I'll pay $10.
Good-looking fine. Oh, my word. Okay, moving on. Normally, we have Tim Duncan introduce our speakers, but today our speakers are Mr. Ron DeLittle and myself. So I'm going to refer to my elder first, Mr. DeLittle.
Hey there, how you doing, Ron? By the way, the rifle on the wall is a 1862 Enfield, which is a Civil War rifle. So it's kind of like a replica of an antique rifle from the Civil War.
What caliber?
It's 58 caliber. So it's like a small cannon. So
I think it was used by the Confederates.
Enfield was primarily used by Confederates. Springfield did the most of the Union, but that's another story. John, would you put up my little chart so I can go through the report on charities?
Well, I was just on Rotary Zoom.
Get up
That's
here in
why I
just a
got the
second.
phone over there. All right, we'll do. All right, bye.
I don't know. Are you able to do it?
Yep.
Just a little one pager to help them remember things I should say. There we go. So now I have to change from my computer glasses to my reading glasses so I can, how about that? As you can well imagine, it's been a relatively quiet year at the charities. The board has met only a few times because of the situation with the virus. The revenue, I'll go through. The poinsettia sale earned about $18,000. Thank you to the team that did that. Wonderful job. Fines have generated just a little more than $6,000 through December. That's better than last year. So all the sheriffs are doing a super job, and everybody's being very generous with their contribution. We raised $2,350 for Polio Plus that went to the foundation, to the polio account to work on eradicating polio. That was a great job, and it's my understanding it's the most we've ever given to the polio fund in a given fiscal year. So thank you, everyone. We received $2,600 for memorial gifts for two Rotarians that we lost this past year. People were very generous to that. And we also had an endowment donation of $1,000. Now, the memorial gifts, it's policy of the Charities Board that the memorial gifts go directly to the Rochester Rotary Endowment, which is housed at the Community Foundation. And so that $2,620 went to that endowment, and so did the $1,000 that was a directed gift to the endowment. The endowment at this time has a balance of $36,700. It's growing modestly. It's done quite well with the market over the last couple of years. Capital gains have been well, so thank you to the Community Foundation for managing that and all. There's also another fund at the Community Foundation, which is not an endowment, it's a direct fund. That's where the money goes for, if we get money for selling bricks for the walks or other contributions, it goes into that. And it's used to pay for the maintenance of the park. And I guess over the long term, contributions to that fund have been enough to pay for the park, although it's been a little weak this past year. Not a lot of bricks have been sold. That's also where the donation went for the pavilion that's being built. I guess it's not a pavilion, but it's a structure that has been built and someday will be dedicated. A gentleman donated it in honor of his wife, and that's where the funds came for that and all that. That's in that other fund. I mentioned the Polio Plus donation was sent to Rochester, to the Rotary International. We also had 3 Paul Harris this year that were given to the International. We made grants. Only 2 grants this year, really, not counting the Paul Harris subsidies. We granted so far $8,500 to Neighborhood House. $7,500 was just voted on last week, and I don't believe has been transmitted to Neighborhood House yet. So we made a grant of $500 for Thanksgiving, $500 for Christmas gifts, and then $7,500 will be to the general operating fund gift. That'll be on its way shortly. And we made the first of 3 payments to Rochester Hills, Innovation Hills Park. That check went out last week for the first payment. A second payment will be made in December of this year, which is next fiscal year. And then the third payment will be the following December, which will be again in another fiscal year. At the moment, we have a cash balance of $44,000, $44,600, net of the obligations that we put some money aside. For example, we will make scholarship grants of $15,000 in June and July, and that money is reserved. It's not in that $44,600 that I showed there. We also have some potential obligations. For example, we're holding funds for the Masters raffle in case something goes astray with the 2020 Masters raffle. So we, just in case for some reason there's another delay, et cetera, or some person wants a refund of their ticket price, although we don't expect that, it's just prudent to keep that money available. We don't have a clear forecast of income because of COVID restrictions. For example, we have been told that the wine tasting at Bourdain's will not occur in April because they will not have an expo. And so that was, the wine tasting in the past was the largest fundraiser for the club. And so we're kind of husbanding the funds we have, but I'm hopeful that the board will be agreeable to making a couple of more grants this spring into areas that help feed people. And for those people who are calorie challenged because of losing their job and things of that nature. And we have some ideas in that area that I hope the board will be willing to approve. So as I mentioned, it's been a much quieter year. Last year by this time, we had made probably 20 grants to various charities around the community and internationally. This year, the only international grant was a matching, we had a matching that came from district for the Guatemala project. So that was a pass-through grant that came through the charities accounts. Well, let me open it up to questions about the situation in charities. Any questions? John, you can take that down, I think, and thank you. Any questions?
Not a question, but I think we also would want to talk about our leadership ladder for next year.
I guess I can comment on it. The president-elect for this year should be Rodney Hubbard. And Rodney's business and health has been such that he has resigned. So for president-elect, we invited and you all voted on pulling Wayne Hodges forward, and he's finishing Rodney's term. The board met and voted on having myself act as president for a second year because we have a gap moving forward, and Tom Neville acting as past president for a second year. And then Wayne Hodges will be president-elect. His official term is president-elect. What will happen after that is Wayne will become president, I'll become past president, and Ron Lichtel will come on the board as president-elect. So the board, with its bylaws, can fill vacancies like this. However, if the membership finds that unacceptable, that I'd be happy to have some conversation about it and see what the membership would like to do. So at this point in time, I will serve as 2 years as president of the charities. Tom Neville will serve 2 years as past president, and Wayne Hodges will serve as a year and a half as president-elect. Any other, Christine or any other board member want to comment? David, do you have a question?
I do have a question, Ron. It was about the wine tasting. We sold tickets, collected monies, and in anticipation of holding those monies because we're going to have a 2021 wine tasting. It doesn't sound like from what you said, we're going to have a 2021 wine tasting. So what should I tell those individuals that paid monies for tickets for last year in anticipation of using them this year?
They have two choices. One, they can ask for a refund, which we'll provide. Or they can continue their charitable activities and leave the money with us, and we'll donate it to, a needy activity.
We'll find a home.
Yeah, no question, we'll find a home for it. Fortunately, we do not have a lot of money at risk with the wine tasting. It's probably less than $1,000 and maybe even less than 500.
Ron, can I interject? We have an opportunity possibly for the April wine tasting to be moved to June. They're talking about it now.
Okay, so don't commit to anybody who's bought tickets from me last year.
Well, I think if somebody bought a ticket and they want their money back, we should give it to them. That would be the appropriate thing from a charity's perspective, in my opinion, on the charities. I don't like to make people angry. That they're not getting value for their funds.
I'll let them know where we are and just keep them abreast of what's going on.
Okay. Other questions? Well, if not, thank you so much for everything you all have done to make the charities year as good as it has been. And I'm hopeful that we'll get substantially more resources raised over time. Be fun next year to be able to make more grants. So, although I'm not, we're being a little cautious. We don't want to spend down and then have something occur that puts us in a financial challenge. So perhaps we're being overly conservative, but that's what the board feels appropriate. So thank you, Ron. I give it back to you.
Thank you, Ron. Basically, before the meeting started, we talked about going back to live meetings at Rivercrest. I've had a few people already on chat say they would be willing to go back to full dues, which was myself, Jay and Linda Eastman, Vince, John Somerville, Greg Schaefer, Tom DeVoe, Sharon Rinke, and I think David Erdley. If anybody else could, because I'm going to have to make the phone calls again in order for us to go back. We have to have a minimum of 30 to break even. So if you could go onto the chat and if you're willing to do that, that'll save me a couple of phone calls anyway. Moving on. Update on our 2021 Club President's Mid-Year Presentation. Next slide. Rochester Rotary's purpose. What is our purpose? We try to make a difference in the lives of people in our community and around the world. Rachel? Basically, our board, immediate past president, Wayne Hodges, myself as president, President-elect David Erdley, President nominee Tim Duncan, Secretary Jeff Whitby, Assistant Secretary Kyle Johnson, Treasurer Vince Mattina, Assistant Treasurer Christine Haig, Directors Cindy Andrews, Ray Dorr, Steve Ayler, and Rachel Avilas. Committees, membership, Stuart Signer, he's always done a great job. Social building relationships, Tom DeVoe. We'll talk more about Tom in the upcoming slides. Think Tank, Steve Ayler. Hands-on service, Rachel Avilas. Fundraising events, Steve Ayler. Fundraising activities, which include weekly meetings, myself and Steve Shettenham for getting our sheriffs lined up for raising some money. Other sources of income, Steve Ayler and Wayne Hodges. Rotary Foundation Committee, Ernie. Youth Programs, Wayne Hodges. Weekly club meeting, myself. Marketing, as always, Andrea Walker-Lady and John Somerville. Mentoring and Development, Wayne Hodges. Reporting and Financial Review, Vince. And Planning Administration, Ray Dorr. Oh, this slid in there somehow. This guy was at some friend's house where they had the whole family and 6 grandchildren, all girls. Next slide. Club updates, membership, Stewart. Club membership, we had, as of 12/29, we had 106. New member sponsors, 4. Membership engagement, 80%. I think that's conservative. With our poinsettias, we had a lot of people. That was really a successful venture for us, an event, and we raised a lot of money. Social building relationship, Tom DeVoe, and club social opportunities, we had 1. Hands-on services, Rachel Avilas, club hands-on service. We had the back to school program, which I went for that one myself also, the park cleanup. We had basically, we're shooting for 100 hours this year. We've had 44, and in fact, I think we've had more than that already. Our club updates again, fundraising events, Steve Ayler. I'll tell you what, Steve did a great job, and I had a lot of help from everybody. It was the most we've raised. This is our largest fundraiser this year. It's most we've raised for poinsettias in our history. Upcoming opportunities, the 2021 Masters Raffle. Wine tasting, we're still hoping to do that in June. Social media solicitations and sheriff fines. This is an update from Steve Ayler, where we forecasted and what we actually hit. So we're ahead of the game, and we still have more opportunities coming up. Rotary Foundation Committee, Ernie Schaefer. Annual fund contributions was $3,500. Every Rotarian every year, we are hoping to hit that 10,000 this year, as we've done in past years. Polio Plus fundraiser, 1,000, and the Polio Plus contributions, 500. Youth programs, Wayne Hodges, and that'll depend on what happens with the schools, and we'll have a future update from Wayne and his committee. Weekly club meetings. We held well-attended meetings, both in person and on Zoom, for an average of about 40 attendees each meeting, and hopefully we will be back live soon. Marketing, Andrea Walker-Lady and John Somerville. They continue to film weekly meetings in Zoom, which you can go on in our Rotary website and view if you missed a meeting. Communicate monthly grants to Rochester Rotary, charities distributing who and what through press releases, web posting, and social media. Emails to members, engage members by providing online ways to connect and engage as a Rotarian, mentor and developing, Wayne Hodges, and training a future president by OJT and specific dialogue would also be Wayne. Reporting and financial review, Justin Masters. He's stepping up to the plate and helping Vince. Annual review of the clubs and charity financials. Planning and administration, Ray Dorr, and multiple teams of members. Club's constitution approved by membership, that was in November of 20. Tentative timing. As a transition workshop, February through March. Bylaws will be planned 21-day review by membership during May. Our strategic plan input from members during April, roll out to members during June. Charities bylaws, planned 21-day review by membership during August. And board operating practices and procedures, board approval during August. This was put out by Vince to give us kind of an idea of where we were at. We budgeted in basically from 2019, we ended up with 44,768. And I'm trying to even, I can't even read it. It's too small. 58, let me get my glasses. There we go. Or I'm sorry, 56,821 is what we actually hit. Next page there. Our profit and loss. Oop. Slide it over. There we go. We basically move it down a little bit. No, there we go. We actually budgeted 1937 and we exceeded it as far as what we actually had to work with, 9,054. Next slide. This was a thank you to Rachel Avilas. She's the one that, I mean, basically put this whole thing together for me. I can't thank her enough. This is her lovely children. Next slide. Social building, that's always been Tom DeVoe. Primary functions, building, enhancing lasting member relationships, increase opportunities that members can safely connect with other members, schedule and organize specific social events, budget sufficient funds to ensure social events, create social traditions, and recognize the contributions of our club and individuals. One thing Tom is asking for, any ideas at all on number one, but that would be with Steve Ayler also, any other fundraisers we can do, and any other ideas on a social event. Social building relationships. Possible future social relationship building activities include weekly club meetings. Hopefully we're going to go back live. That'll be me. Small group social gatherings, Tom DeVoe. Zoom social call and family events, Tom DeVoe. Jimmy John's, if we can get that put together this year, that'd be Tim Duncan. Club Christmas party, David Early. President Transition Picnic, David Early. Inter-Service Club Corps, Ray Dorr, if we're going to have that this year. That's going to be up to Ray. All Hands on Services, Rachel Avilas, and all fundraising opportunities, Steve Ayler. We had a great year as far as I'm concerned. I mean, with what we've had to work with everything being shut down, we still had a great fundraiser. The poinsettias exceeded what we've done before by $6,000. We had a Zoom Christmas party. David Early set that up. We had the back to school event Rachel set up. When we went live, we had to have at least 30 members to sign up for full dues. We had 65 that signed up that really helped us get back on track for in-person meetings. So that is about it. Do we have any questions? Anybody have any questions? That's pretty quiet out there.
I do. How you can put my name down so many times?
What's that?
Why'd you put my name down so many times?
Because you're a big guy, you can handle it.
Well, I don't have a question, but I have a comment, and I want to thank you, Ron, for your leadership in this past year. It's been difficult with our Zoom meetings and not meeting in person and back and forth and all, and you've done a good job.
Well, I'll tell you, once in a while, I mean, not too often, once in a while I'll get some criticism, and it's like, you know, what I usually, a good response would be, have you been president yet? Get in the chairs. Because this is year 5 for me. I mean, to me, everyone pretty well knows you go through the chairs. So there's every year you're doing something different for a whole year. It's been a trip. It's been, I don't, you know, disagree with anything that's been going on. I'm doing the best I can. And you got a great president coming up with David Early. Any other questions, comments?
Well, thank you, Ron, for that compliment. I just wanted to echo what Christine said about your leadership, and Ron DeLittle, your leadership for charities. You both have, and the teams have both stepped up to the plate during this year, and we're a stronger club because of both of your great work and your great leadership this year.
Thank you, David. I got to agree with you with Ron DeLittle. Wow. he stepped up to the plate and doing it more than 1 year. I don't think I want to do it more than 1 year. There, you gotta shoot yourself, huh? Any other comments, especially from our mayor? I'm sure he's got a comment.
He's gone.
He's gone.
He's gone.
It looked like he's still there.
Lunchtime.
I'm here.
Look at
Did
the
you
chat.
shave yet?
He's eating lunch.
No. No, I just like watching all this transpire. Good fodder for the next time I'm sheriff in 2022.
Well, I'll tell you, it's actually surprising. We've had very, very good attendance on Zoom, and then when we went back live again, it was exciting getting people back together again. And I'm hoping we can. And if you haven't gone to Zoom, it looks like maybe a few have. I had some notes on who already signed up because, like I said, I'm going to have to make a bunch of phone calls because we got to have a minimum of 30 in order to go back live. And I'll be talking with Nino, see what where we're going to be at. Any other questions, comments before we close out? Looks pretty quiet. Listen, it's been a pleasure. We got another 6 months to go, and I'm sure we're going to do great. I'm really praying for the June over at for our man, I'm drawing a blank.
Bordines.
For Bordines. All right, listen, you take care. Have a great week. We'll see you.
Bye now.